Hello and welcome to this lesson. Today, we're going to do some self-discovery. We'll be working on two standards. The first is to be able to relate careers to your individual interests, abilities, and aptitudes. And the second standard is we're going to analyze careers options, and again, based on your personal abilities, interests, achievements, and goals. Have you ever wondered how somebody chooses a career? Well, today our essential question is, how does knowing yourself better help you choose a career that will suit you? First, let's take a minute to think about the following question. Which career path do you want to follow? Maybe you already know what you want to do and you're ready to get started. Maybe you have some ideas, but they haven't really settled in. Or maybe you're at the very beginning, at the first step, and you wonder, what should I do after high school? Have you ever heard the expression, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life? Well, in this class, we're going to talk a lot about how choosing the right career for you can make a huge difference. Have you ever heard somebody say that they hate their job? And then there's other people that say they enjoy what they do for a living. How do you get the job that you enjoy and one that you find fulfilling versus the job that you're going to hate? Well, a huge part of doing this is first thinking about yourself and thinking about your learning styles and your values and what you want to do with your life. So when choosing a satisfying career, about half of it is understanding different careers that are out there. And we'll talk some about that. We'll go over some different careers, different opportunities that you may have. But the second half is about knowing yourself, knowing your interests, knowing your aptitudes, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you don't like. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So the first thing I want to ask is for you to be honest with yourself. We're going to do some interest inventories and some aptitude tests and some surveys in this class. And when you're doing those, I really want you to focus on you and what you know to be the truths about you. Don't answer how you think your mother will want you to answer or your grandmother. Think about you. And if you really like something, then you can indicate that you do. If you don't, that's okay because we're all different. It's just the most important thing, and the way for you to benefit the most is by being honest. So I've already mentioned that finding the right career for you has a lot to do with your individual and unique personality and who you are. Well, we're going to take a few minutes right now to go into some different aspects of that. We're going to talk about your self-concept, your personality, your interests, your aptitude, your abilities, and your values. And then we're going to wrap it all up and talk a little bit about how that makes an impact on your career. So you've probably heard the term self-concept before. And what self-concept is, here, it is what you know about yourself and how you feel about yourself. Self-concept is important because we have to take a realistic view of who we are and what we're capable of doing. For example, let's say that you always thought you would be a lawyer, but in reality, you hate writing, you don't like getting into arguments with people, you cannot imagine being in school for another 6 to 8 years and then working 80 to 100 hours a week for a job. Well, now it's time to take a realistic look at yourself and think about your self-concept, who you are, the things you know about yourself, and then make some decisions about the direction you will take. Personality. Well, personality is a group of traits that makes each person unique. Each of us has traits that make up our own personality. For example, you might be outgoing or you might be introverted. You might have the tendency to stick with something until you figure it out, or maybe you get frustrated quickly. Knowing more about your personality will help you select a career that is best suited for you. For example, if you're introverted, you probably don't want to pick a career that requires you to call people you don't know and try to sell them something. Or if you're extroverted and highly social, you probably don't want to pick a career that would have you in a cubicle, not able to speak to anyone all day, working independently. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what makes up your personality, and we are going to later on be able to do some assessments so you can learn more about your personality. For now, though, I want you to know the definition of personality, and that is a group of traits that makes each person unique. I'm sure if I were to ask you what your interests are, you'd be able to tell me. Interests are ideas, subjects, and activities that you enjoy. I am sure you have all experienced how important this is. Have you ever had an assignment, maybe you had to write an essay, and your teacher gave you that topic, and it was a topic that you really could not care about at all? Well, that assignment was probably a lot more difficult than if the teacher had given you the same requirement, the same essay, but on a topic that you personally were interested in. It becomes a lot easier and you feel a lot more motivated to do things when you have a personal interest in it. So if we apply that to careers, one of the things that we want to think about is, what are your personal interests? That doesn't mean if you have an interest of fishing that you're going to be able to find a career that you're out fishing all day, but we would be able to find some interest. So maybe it's also about being outside. And then you could find a job that involved you being outside versus working behind a desk or in an office. So one of the things that we're going to do in this class is talk about and help you define what your interests are. And for now, I just want you to have a general idea that interests are the ideas, subjects, and activities that you enjoy. I love this quote. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. It is true about school, it is true about relationships, and it is also true about the workplace. Attitude is so important. So what is attitude? Well, attitude is how you react to a situation, and I am sure that you've all seen people react differently to the same situation. That's attitude. Your aptitude, that has to do with your natural talents and the potential that you have to learn something quickly and easily. I do not have the aptitude to learn mechanics. I could break a DVD player just by looking at it. So that is not something that is a natural talent for me, and it's not something that I learned quickly or easily. My abilities, well, those are skills that you have and you will develop. It is a lot easier to develop abilities if you already have the aptitude, but you can develop abilities without it. Everyone has their own set of values. Knowing what your set of values and clarifying what your values are will help you find a career that is in alignment with your values. It's important to be aware of your values and then to find a job that supports what you believe to be important. Another thing that's important is to find a job that matches your learning style. Let's say you're a hands-on learner. Well, finding a job that allows you to physically manipulate things is going to be much more rewarding and come much more naturally to you than a job that, let's say, would require you to sit in an office and be in a cubicle and gather all your information through the computer. Often we have multiple learning styles, but one of the things I want to help you do in this class is figure out what your learning style is and then match that up also with the ideal career. For now, though, I want you just to know that learning styles, a basic definition of that is your learning style is the different way that you take in information and then you process that information. So I'm giving you a peek preview of what we're going to be covering next. We are going to be going over learning styles. One of the assignments that you will do this week will introduce you to the idea of multiple intelligence, and we will start to discover which style best fits you. So let's review. Today we started talking about the idea that knowing who you are and what interests you will better help you find a career in your future. We talked about finding the right job and how it's not just about researching careers, it's also about seriously thinking about your abilities, your aptitudes, your personal traits, your self-concept. We talked about how you will be most happy in a career that matches well with your personality and your values and what you find to be interesting and meaningful. And we talked just a little bit about multiple intelligences, and you are going to have an opportunity to take an assessment and help you learn more about that. Thank you for viewing this recording.